Before we start, please make sure to like this video and hit this subscribe button, so you never miss a story like this. And also comments where you are watching from, how many sons and daughters you have. Thanks. My name is Emily Hart. I'm 65 years old, from Austin, Texas. And here's one truth I've learned the hard way: trust can be the prettiest lie a snake will whisper to your heart. I knew it. I freaking knew it, Jonathan. I screamed, my voice echoing through our quiet house like shattered glass. I slammed his suitcase down on the hardwood floor with a thud that rattled the picture frames on the wall. Tell me right now, who is she? Jonathan stood there, still dressed in the same wrinkled travel clothes from his supposed New York business trip, his face frozen, half blank, half panic. What are you even talking about? He stammered, voice flat but his eyes twitching. Emily, calm down. Don't you dare tell me to calm down, I snapped, marching toward him, holding up my phone with the hotel receipt displayed. You really thought I wouldn't find out? My sister owns that hotel in Santa Monica, Jonathan. Did you forget that? Or did your little girlfriend forget to wipe the lipstick off your collar before she paraded into her king suite under my name? His jaw clenched. His silence told me everything. Oh my God, I gasped, my voice breaking mid-sentence. You were really going to let me think you were in New York, while you were using my money to entertain some cheap woman at my sister's hotel? It's not what it looks like. I laughed. A short, bitter, insulted laugh. Oh please, if I had $1 for every time a lying man said that, I'd have enough to pay her hotel bill myself. You used my ATM card, Jonathan. You paid for her dinner, her wine, probably even her lingerie, with the same money I saved for our anniversary trip. That money is ours, Emily. No. That money was mine. My pension. My careful planning. My restraint, while you were out in California pretending you were still 25. The air in the room turned to ice. His face, suddenly flushed red, turned dark. You want to talk about restraint? He spat. Try spending 10 years with someone who's more interested in her garden and her books than her husband. My eyes widened. I took a step back like his words had physically struck me. Are you seriously blaming me for your infidelity? I'm not blaming. You are. I shrieked. You're standing there with your shirt half untucked and guilt bleeding through your forehead, and you still can't own up to what you did. He finally exploded. Fine. You want the truth? Yeah, I'm tired. Tired of living like we're already dead. You don't dress up anymore, you don't look at me like you used to, and for once, just once, I wanted to feel like a man again. I stood frozen. My heart didn't just crack, it caved in. You coward, I whispered. You didn't want to feel like a man. You wanted to feel powerful. That's why you didn't take her to some anonymous hotel. You wanted to parade her around my family's place, as if you were daring someone to catch you. Silence fell for a moment. I wiped a tear and nodded slowly. Well, you got caught. And I hope it was worth it. He scoffed and turned to leave the room, grabbing the suitcase. I don't have to take this. I stepped in front of the door, fury rippling through my chest. You don't get to walk away. Not before I tell you what happens next. He rolled his eyes. Oh great, here comes the drama. No. Here comes the plan. That night, after he stormed out, I didn't crumble. I didn't scream into a pillow or call a friend to cry. I called my brother, Jackson. And together, we made a plan. Not a dramatic one. A smart one. A silent one. You see, Jonathan thought this was just another affair. Another lie I'd swallow. But he forgot, I'm not the weak woman I once was. And if you think this story ends with tears, think again. Sometimes, betrayal isn't the end of your story, it's the start of your power. If you've ever been lied to, manipulated, or made to feel small, keep watching. Because what I did next, it didn't just get me justice. It made everyone in the room regret ever underestimating me. The next morning, I brewed my coffee like usual. Sat at the kitchen table. Quiet. Focused. Not because I was calm, but because I was calculating. My brother, Jackson, had flown in overnight. He's a retired police lieutenant, smart, strategic, and loyal to a fault. When I told him everything Jonathan had done, he didn't ask why. He asked how we make him regret it. "Are you sure you want to do this?" Jackson asked, sitting across from me, sipping black coffee. "You know, once we move, there's no going back." "I don't want to go back," I said coldly. "I want him to know he chose the wrong woman to betray." We got to work. First, we traced every withdrawal Jonathan had made using my ATM card. Thousands. From shopping sprees to fancy restaurants, even jewelry stores. All billed under my name, using a card I thought he only used for emergencies. Turns out, I was the emergency. But I wasn't going to file fraud claims. No. That's too easy. I wanted public humiliation. We found out the woman's name too. Camille Torres. Younger. Twice divorced. Lives in Vegas but travels constantly. Her social media was wide open. Jonathan appeared in one of her vacation pictures, captioned, "Business and pleasure never looked so good, red heart." My heart twisted when I saw it. But I didn't cry. I copied it. We called in favors. Jackson contacted an old friend who ran a boutique legal firm. Within 6 hours, we had documentation to freeze the joint account legally, and we also pulled Jonathan's name off every asset I owned. My sister, still furious, offered me something else, a key to the suite Jonathan booked for the weekend. And that was where it all came together. "Emily," Jackson said as we packed the car, "you sure you're up for seeing him face to face?" I zipped my bag. Looked my brother straight in the eye. I want to see the moment his smile falls off his face. We arrived in Santa Monica that afternoon. I walked into my sister's hotel, not as the hurt wife, but as the woman who knew everything. The woman with a plan. I wore a tailored navy blue dress, hair up, heels clicking with every step. My sister greeted me with a hug, then pointed toward the ocean-facing suite on the 5th floor. "He checked in with her again this morning," she whispered. "They ordered champagne and 2 steaks." I nodded. "I brought the cake." Jackson smirked behind me. We took the elevator up. Every second felt like thunder in my ears. Room 509. I didn't knock. I slid in the key card. Opened the door. And there he was. Jonathan, wrapped in a white robe, sipping champagne, turning just as I stepped in. His eyes widened. He stood up, sputtering. "Emily, what the hell, how?" Camille sat up in bed, her robe slipping slightly, her face turning pale. "Who is she?" I smiled, slow and razor-sharp. "Hi, Camille. I'm the wife. You know, the one paying for this little vacation." Jonathan stammered, stepping forward. I can explain." "No," I said. "You can listen, because I didn't drive 6 hours for an explanation." I pulled out the stack of papers from my bag and tossed them on the glass coffee table. "Those are copies of every transaction you made using my card. See the dates? The times? While you were telling me you were in board meetings, you were buying her perfume and oysters." He opened his mouth, but I kept going. "I pulled your name off everything." "The house?" "Mine now." "The car?" "Mine." "The account you drained?" "Frozen." "And the diamond earrings you gifted her?" I held up a receipt. "I already called the store. They're being returned." Camille stood now, confused and annoyed. "You tricked him?" "Oh no, honey. He tricked me. You were just the accessory to his stupidity." "Emily, please," Jonathan reached out, his tone dropping, suddenly soft and begging. "We can talk. This doesn't have to get ugly." I laughed, loud and real. "Ugly?" Jonathan, this is me being polite. He stepped forward, panicking. You're ruining everything. No, I said, my voice calm now. Deadly. You ruined everything the second you thought I wouldn't find out. The second you thought I'd sit at home, waiting like a fool. He looked like a trapped animal. Camille started gathering her things. And then came the cherry on top. Jackson walked in, with a camera crew. You remember my brother? I said sweetly. He works with a few nonprofits now. And they're doing a special on women over 60 rebuilding their lives after betrayal. Say cheese, Jonathan. Narrator voice. And that's how it started. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I executed. I exposed him without shedding a tear. And when the video went viral, yes, it did, dozens of women wrote to me. Telling me my story gave them the courage to walk away from their liars, their abusers, their manipulators. That's when I knew, this wasn't revenge. It was a reclamation. I didn't just get even. I got everything. After we left the hotel, Jonathan didn't say a word. He just stood there in that robe, pathetic, embarrassed, exposed. Camille had already slammed the bathroom door and was screaming at him through it, calling him a loser with nothing. I didn't even look back. By the time we were in the car heading home, my phone was already lighting up. My sister had posted the footage to her hotel's private staff Facebook page, just to share the karma. But it didn't stay private for long. The video spread like wildfire. 1 million views in under 24 hours. Women across the country were sharing it. Wife catches cheating husband red-handed, at her sister's hotel. That was the headline. But that wasn't the story. The real story was about me. An older woman. A forgotten woman. A woman who was supposed to stay quiet, keep the peace, and age gracefully while her husband played bachelor in secret. But I didn't go quiet. I went viral. 3 days later, I was sitting at home. Still in my bathrobe, sipping herbal tea, when the doorbell rang. I already knew. I opened the door slowly. There he was. Jonathan. In a wrinkled polo, holding a bouquet of grocery store flowers, looking like a shell of the man he once pretended to be. Emily, he breathed, his voice low. Can we talk? I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. You got 3 minutes. He stepped inside nervously. I didn't offer him a seat. I messed up, he began, eyes wet. I know I did. I lost everything. Camille left. The account's frozen. I've been sleeping in my car. I said nothing. He kept going. You were right. You were always right. I got greedy. I wanted to feel young again. But she didn't love me. She didn't even like me. She liked the money. And now she's gone. Still, I said nothing. He looked up, desperate. I want to come home. That's when I let out the softest, most honest chuckle. Not bitter. Not angry. Just, done. Jonathan, I said, stepping closer, I didn't burn the bridge. You did. And now you're shocked that I won't carry you across the ashes? I made a mistake. No, you made a choice. Again. And again. And again. Every time you used my card. Every time you lied to my face. Every time you told her I didn't care about you, while I was here cooking your meals and folding your clothes and wondering why your hugs felt so empty. His face crumbled. Emily, please. I'm begging you. You should beg, I said. Not for my love. That's gone. But for forgiveness, because I gave you everything. Years. Loyalty. Sacrifices you never saw. And all you gave me was doubt. Tears rolled down his face now. But I felt nothing. Not because I was heartless, but because I was finally free. He reached out to grab my hand. I stepped back. Goodbye, Jonathan. And I closed the door. They say closure is a conversation. But that's not always true. Sometimes, closure is a door you lock, not to keep them out, but to finally let yourself go. And me? I let go of the weight I carried for years. That night, I lit a candle in my kitchen. I turned on some music. Nina Simone's Feelin' Good came on. I smiled. Because I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was thriving. The next morning, my phone buzzed again. It was an email. Subject line, podcast interview invitation, women who rebuilt. They'd seen the video. They wanted me to speak. Not just about the betrayal, but about the comeback. And I said yes. Because if my voice could shake one woman awake, just one, then it was worth shouting my truth from every rooftop. If someone's ever made you feel small, invisible, or replaceable, let this story be your reminder: you are not the problem. You are the prize. And you don't need closure from someone who never deserved a seat at your table in the first place. When someone betrays your trust, you don't owe them a second chance. You owe yourself a second chapter. 2 weeks after I closed the door on Jonathan, I received something strange in the mail. A thick envelope, handwritten, no return address. I opened it carefully. Inside was a letter. From Camille. Yes. Her. I sat down slowly, fingers trembling, not with fear, but with the curiosity of a woman who had already conquered the battlefield and now wondered what the vanquished had left to say. It began. Emily. You don't know me well, but I've come to know you more than I expected. I didn't write this to ask forgiveness. I wrote this because the woman I thought I was hurting turned out to be the strongest woman I've ever seen. I met Jonathan at a conference last year. He told me he was divorced. He said you were crazy, clingy, and controlling. He painted you like a shadow of yourself, a woman who didn't care whether he came home or not. I believed him. I didn't ask questions. I should have. I was stupid, selfish, and yes, interested in the lifestyle he promised. But when you walked into that hotel room with fire in your eyes and dignity in your spine, I saw the real story. And I saw the lie I'd been living crumble on the carpet in front of me. I left him that night. Not because he was broke, but because I saw what he destroyed. And how calm you were when you watched it burn. I envy that strength. I've never had it. But now, I want to learn from it. Thank you for not slapping me. Thank you for not screaming. Thank you for showing me what a real woman looks like. Camille. I stared at that last line for a long time. Because somewhere in the ashes of betrayal, a different woman had seen the light. That same day, I got a second surprise. My sister forwarded me an email from a woman named Karen Michaels, executive producer at a digital storytelling network. She saw the hotel video and wanted to buy the rights to my story. Not just a podcast, they wanted to make it a docuseries pilot. My jaw dropped. Me? 65. Retired. Humiliated. Betrayed. And now? Featured. Respected. Celebrated. I signed the contract 2 days later. They flew me to LA, gave me a stylist, even put me in a studio with velvet couches and white lights. But none of that glittered louder than the voice I was finally learning to use. I told everything. The moment I found out. The confrontation. The plan. The moment I chose myself. Women wrote in by the thousands. You gave me courage to leave. I've been quietly suffering for years, thank you. My husband said no one would ever want me after him. You proved him wrong. Then, something I never expected happened. I was walking through the studio lobby, wrapped in a coat, ready to fly back home, when a woman approached me. Short brown hair. Glasses. Tears in her eyes. You don't remember me, she said softly. But 15 years ago, you were my substitute teacher in Austin. Middle school. I blinked, searching her face. My name's Rachel. I was the shy girl. The one who never spoke. You told me once, you don't have to be loud to be powerful. Just be honest. I never forgot that. She smiled. And now, watching you tell your story? I remembered how brave you always were. Even back then. I couldn't speak. I just hugged her. Because sometimes, the seeds you plant come back years later, as wildflowers in places you never expected. They say pain breaks you. But I've learned something better. Pain builds you. If you let it. Jonathan didn't ruin my life. He revealed who I really was. And Camille? She didn't steal my husband. She gave me back myself. Today was the day of the live finale, the moment I'd been building toward. I arrived on set before sunrise, heart pounding like thunder in my chest. Studio lights buzzed overhead, cameras waited, crew whispered in corridors. My producers told me this episode would shatter records, live confession, live closure. I sat in that velvet chair again, microphone hot in my hand, ready to speak truth. But I wasn't prepared for what happened next. The doors burst open, and there he was, Jonathan, looking like a ghost in a suit too big. He stepped onto the stage without invitation, spotlight swallowing him whole. Audience gasped. I felt the floor tilt beneath me, memory of betrayal flooding back. He held up a piece of paper, his final plea for forgiveness, or so I thought. The host whispered, "Should we stop the show?" But I shook my head slowly, determined. This was our last scene together, and I wasn't about to let him rewrite it. "Emily," he said, voice trembling live on camera, "please, I can't go on like this. I never stopped loving you. I was stupid, selfish, weak. I've lost my career, my dignity. I'll lose you forever if you don't help me." His eyes glistened under the studio lights, pleading like a child who broke the vase. I took a deep breath, felt every woman in that audience leaning forward. I knew what I had to do. I stood up, heart steady, voice clear and calm for the first time in years. "Yes, Jonathan, this is live, and yes, you're right, you've lost everything. But I'm not here to rebuild us. I'm here to finish this story on my terms." I smiled, and the studio echoed with my own power, fueled by every betrayal endured. "Here's your final act, your request for divorce, signed and notarized, ready." I held up the document, camera zoomed in on his face, shock, regret, relief. He stared at the paper as if it burned his hands, lips quivering, tears falling. "I'm sorry," he whispered, voice cracking. "I deserve this." I nodded, handing it to him gently, the mercy I found in my own strength. "This isn't cruelty, it's justice. And it's what you chose when you chose her." The audience erupted in applause, women standing, men nodding in respect. For the first time, I felt closure blossom into something fierce and beautiful. After the camera stopped rolling, I stepped off stage into a hero's welcome. Crew and contestants hugged me, my sister cried in the wings, Jackson grinned proudly. Camille was there too, no animosity, just mutual respect etched in her smile. We joined hands backstage, three women bound by a story of betrayal and rebirth. Jonathan watched from the sidelines, the last spectator of the life he lost. I walked past him, head held high, stepping into my next chapter without looking back. They say the final act is the hardest, but for me, it was the easiest. Because I learned that ending can be the sweetest beginning of all. I didn't need his forgiveness to feel whole. I needed his absence to see how strong I was. My story proved you don't need to reconcile with the past, you need to reconcile with yourself. And now, every camera, every light, every cheer reminds me, I am more than his mistakes. I am Emily Hart, survivor, champion, proof that a woman's power only grows with every trial. When someone betrays you, don't beg for scraps of their apology. Demand your destiny instead. If Emily's journey ignited something in you, share this story, tag a friend who needs to hear it. Because no matter your age, your voice can still shake the world. Stay brave. Stay fierce.